Hello, let me first briefly introduce myself. I am David Simmonds, a chartered chemical engineer who has worked in energy for the whole of my career. I've worked for major companies delivering many energy projects in Europe, Asia, and Africa, and in doing so have supported countries with their energy transitions. During my career, I've also seen the power of technology and the power of teams to deliver change. Recently, the European chapter of the Gas Processors Association, a non-profit organisation, asked me to give a keynote presentation at their Future Energy Conference. I would like to thank the GPA for that opportunity. Through this series of videos, I would like to provide a slightly longer version of that presentation, outlining my thoughts on a plan to achieve net zero. It's for my friends, ex-colleagues, and those involved in determining policy for our energy transition. This video is a short introduction to the series, which hopefully will whet your appetite to follow it further. While the presentation is all about our future energy, I've given it a subtitle, Efficiency, Flexibility, and Uncertainty. For as you will see, I believe these are the parameters at the heart of the conundrum facing our transition. Energy is at the core of our social and economic well-being, and the scale of the transition to ameliorate the impact of on our climate is enormous. And so I do not want to trivialize the challenge, and certainly do not believe there is a silver bullet. Beyond the what, our plans have to consider the how, especially as we have limited time to achieve our target. As you will see from this series, I do not believe we can secure a practical way forward to achieve net zero by 2050 without capitalizing on the wide range of available technologies. In the first part, I briefly look back at where we have come from and introduce the concept of reinforcing energy vectors, symbolized by these rings. This chart highlights the nub of our problem, our dependence on fossil fuels. Until 1800, we relied on wood and peat to heat our homes and cook. The Industrial Revolution of the 1850s was built upon harnessing the efficiency of coal, our first fossil fuel. Later, with the need for more flexibility, particularly for transport, and with the successful exploitation of oil, we progressed forward to our oil-central world of the 1970s. At that time, natural gas technologies were in their infancy, and it quickly became the flexible fuel of preference for heating, and by the beginning of 2010, we entered our current gas-centric system. Major transitions have been driven by price and convenience. Our dependence upon cheap, readily available fossil fuels has led to the climate issue we face today. In the first part, I go on to extrapolate price and convenience to the concepts of efficiency and flexibility, and demonstrate how these are important to our future energy system. The second part of my presentation, covered in two videos, highlights the range of technologies being developed to address the challenges. Firstly, I will discuss a range of energy supply technologies. Secondly, there is a range of use technologies, and this is where the consumer comes into the equation. And thirdly, we need a range of distribution and storage technologies. This is probably the trickiest area for policymakers, and studies often inadequately look at this part of system change. As we shall see, some of these technologies offer improved efficiency, while others provide more flexibility. The second video of the series, Part 2A, covers those technologies related to efficient electrification technologies, while the third video, Part 2B, looks at those technologies offering a higher degree of flexibility. I am not saying that an efficient technology cannot be flexible or vice versa. I'm just classifying them under their main benefit, theme, or trait. I will also highlight that while technologies already exist today, most are still in their infancy, and scale-up and deployment constitute the uncertainty. Ultimately, though, we must not forget that the consumer wants cheap, convenient, and now the third C, clean energy. In the third part covered within the fourth video of my series, I developed some possible future energy scenarios. These will start with a full electrification scenario based upon maximizing efficiency benefits. These will utilize what I term gold standard technologies. I will then go on to show the importance of flexibility within our current energy system and the need to adopt a range of silver standard flexibility technologies. Together with the electrification technologies, these are captured in my full hybrid scenario. However, I go on to outline the third scenario, an interim hybrid, which utilizes some bronze standard transition technologies. These are technologies which can be implemented at scale quickly to help us achieve our 2050 net zero targets. I've tried to capture the best of these scenarios into my reinforcing ring model as shown here. Starting with today's gas-centric world, still supported by oil and coal, moving forward, we need to rapidly move to a renewable-centric world, passing through the interim hybrid scenario, utilizing all three sets of technologies to achieve net zero by 2050. But clearly our longer term goal will be to phase out those transitional technologies to secure the full hybrid by 2100, though hopefully a lot earlier. So 2050 is only part of our journey. However, it can still be carbon neutral. It is also imperative that we try to reduce demand as much as possible through passive efficiency measures such as improved building insulation. To clarify the model, I have translated the conceptual ring model onto a gold, silver and bronze depiction. Here in 2050, the bronze transitional technologies also include some carbon offsetting measures. The gold standard technologies dominate to ensure efficiency. These are supported by silver standard technologies to provide flexibility, while bronze standard technologies are used to manage uncertainties during the transition period. But again, hopefully you can see the reinforcing nature of our energy vectors. In the final video of this series, part 4, I put a little more meat onto the bones regarding my concerns over scale up and deployment. In other words, about the how we are going to deliver our plan. It covers customer acceptance of new technologies, the financing of costs, project management skills, and the resourcing for the deployment of our new technologies. It also includes this slide, which reviews the concept of locked-in emissions, one aspect which is being picked up by the UK Committee for Climate Change. It also considers the time required to realise the benefits of new technologies. For sure, ultimately costs will reduce as we realise more renewable energy, but the transition takes time and we will incur significant capital costs and resources along the way. It could also cost the planet more damage if we do not plan and act sensibly. This slide highlights that the full benefit of new technology will take time to realise due to the need for scale-up. My final concern for the how is communicating the plan to the wider community. I am not an animation expert, but in the final part I propose an energy utilisation graphic which could be developed to demonstrate some of the principles and challenges for our transition. I won't elaborate more here beyond trying to represent our energy world through a series of energy blocks utilised by a range of consuming sectors. In this example, I show these ranging from power through to agriculture. What energy vector supplies each block today? And what are the emissions from that energy supply? And which vector can supply it in the future, be it gold, silver, or bronze technology? The game starts here. Thank you for your attention, and I hope this summary will encourage you to investigate the full series comprising 5 videos covering parts 1, 2A, 2B, 3, and 4. Ideally, they should be seen in sequence. I hope they convey my strong belief that we need to develop and implement multiple technologies to stand a chance of achieving net zero by 2050, while also delivering a longer-term sustainable energy future. I realize that there are many differing views on what our energy future will look like and how we should get there. Unfortunately, I don't think we have the luxury to pick and choose, but more importantly, I believe that many of the technologies are actually complementary. They reinforce each other. Consequently, I believe our transition plan can't just consider electricity or hydrogen, or indeed one which does not build upon the strengths of our current energy system. It must consider the gold, silver, and bronze technologies. We also need a clear vision on how it can be achieved. I recognize that this is difficult given all the uncertainties, especially the costs. That is the real challenge for our policymakers. Please forward this link to any of your friends and colleagues who you think may be interested. If you have any questions or would like to comment on or discuss any of the material or ideas presented here, please contact me as shown. Thank you again for listening.